A hush fell over the dazzling halls of Sterling Sons, the most exclusive watch boutique in downtown Seattle. The air shimmered with the scent of bergamot and polished mahogany, and the marble floors gleamed beneath the soft glow of crystal chandeliers. In this world of tailored suits and whispered fortunes, every detail was curated, every guest, every glance, every gesture. Into this world stepped Elijah Brooks, a tall, white man in a faded flannel shirt and well-worn boots. His hair was tousled, his jeans bore the marks of honest labor, and a battered canvas backpack hung from his shoulder. He paused just inside the entrance, letting the heavy glass door sigh shut behind him. The staff's eyes flicked toward him, their smiles tightening, their posture shifting almost imperceptibly. Elijah felt the weight of their judgment, the silent verdict that he did not belong. At the heart of the boutique stood the manager, Darius Kinga, black man whose presence radiated authority. His suit was a study in elegance, his shoes shone like obsidian, and his reputation for perfection was whispered about in the city's luxury circles. Darius's gaze swept over Elijah, lingering on the scuffed boots and the absence of a designer watch. To Darius, Elijah was an anomaly, a disruption in the seamless order of his domain. Elijah moved with quiet purpose, his blue eyes scanning the displays not as a shopper, but as a silent observer. He watched as a black couple in designer attire was ushered into a private lounge, laughter and the clink of crystal glasses trailing behind them. He noticed a young Latina woman in a simple dress, ignored by the staff as she lingered near a case of vintage timepieces. The boutique's culture was clear. Value was measured in appearance, not character. A sales associate named Jasmine, her name tag sparkling with tiny rhinestones, approached Elijah with a practiced smile. "Can I help you find something?" she asked, her tone polite but distant. Elijah returned her smile, his voice gentle. "I'd like to see your limited edition collection, the ones featured at last month's gala." Jasmine's smile faltered. "Those are by appointment only," she replied, her words a velvet rope. "We reserve them for our most established clients." She handed him a glossy catalog of entry-level watches, her gesture both gracious and final. "Feel free to browse these," she said, nodding toward a quiet corner. Elijah accepted the catalog, his fingers tracing the slick pages. He moved to the designated corner, his presence a quiet defiance. The staff's whispers grew bolder, their glances sharper. Darius watched from across the room, his jaw set, his eyes cold. The boutique's regular steak moguls, athletes, and socialites barely spared Elijah a glance, their attention fixed on the spectacle of luxury. Then, the boutique's doors swung open, and the room seemed to inhale. In strode Carter Williams, a black tech billionaire whose face graced magazine covers and whose every move was chronicled by the press. Carter's suit was midnight blue, his watch a rare Patek Philippe, his aura magnetic. The staff snapped to attention. Darius's demeanor transformed, his smile blooming into genuine warmth. "Mr. Williams, what an honor," he said, his voice reverent. "We've prepared the private suite for your viewing." Jasmine abandoned her post, eager to assist. Another associate fetched a tray of champagne, its bubbles catching the light. The boutique buzzed with new energy, customers craning their necks to glimpse Carter. Elijah watched, his expression unreadable, as Carter was ushered toward the very collection he had been denied. Elijah stepped closer to a display of antique pocket watches, his boots silent on the marble. He asked Jasmine, "Can you tell me about the history of these pieces?" Jasmine's smile flickered. "They're authentic," she said curtly, "but I'd have to check with the manager for details." She didn't move to fetch Darius. Instead, she returned to Carter, her voice warm, her laughter easy. The dismissal stung, but Elijah's composure held. He watched as Darius and the staff orbited Carter, their attention absolute. The boutique's hierarchy was laid bare. Wealth and fame were the only currencies that mattered. Suddenly, a commotion erupted near the entrance. A young black man in a hoodie, who had been ignored for most of the afternoon, accidentally brushed against a display case. The alarm chimed softly, and the staff descended on him, their voices sharp, their suspicion immediate. Darius's tone was icy as he demanded, "Is there a problem here?" The young man stammered an apology, his face flushing with embarrassment. Elijah stepped forward, his voice calm but commanding. "He didn't do anything wrong," he said, his words cutting through the tension. The room froze. Darius turned, his eyes narrowing. "And who are you to say?" he challenged. Elijah smiled, a quiet storm gathering behind his eyes. "Maybe I should call the owner," he said, pulling out an old flip phone from his backpack. The staff exchanged glances, their confidence wavering. Darius's composure faltered, his authority teetering. Elijah dialed, his movements unhurried. "Yes, this is Elijah Brooks. I'm at Sterling, Sons. Could you let Mr. Samuel Sterling know I'm here?" The name landed like a thunderclap. Samuel Sterling, the reclusive founder, a white man whose word was law in the world of luxury watches. Within minutes, the boutique's doors opened again, and Samuel Sterling himself strode in, his silver hair gleaming, his presence electric. He crossed the floor with purpose, his eyes finding Elijah immediately. "Elijah, my boy," he boomed, embracing him. "I'm so glad you're here. Everyone, meet my son and the new CEO of Sterling, Sons." The room reeled. Darius's face drained of color. Jasmine's catalog slipped from her hands, and Carter Williams' mid-sip of champagne lowered his glass, his curiosity piqued. The staff's whispers died, replaced by a stunned silence. Samuel's voice rang out. "Elijah is here to see how we treat every customer, not just the ones with deep pockets or famous faces. I trust his judgment more than anyone's." He turned to Darius, his gaze steely. "I want to hear what happened today." Darius's mask crumbled. His voice, usually so assured, trembled. I followed protocol. I prioritized our VIPs. I didn't realize." His words faltered, guilt and fear warring in his eyes. Jasmine spoke next, her voice small. "I judged by appearances. I'm sorry. I thought I was doing what was expected." Elijah listened, his expression gentle but firm. "This isn't about blame," he said. "It's about building a place where everyone feels welcome, where a young man in a hoodie, a woman in a simple dress, or anyone else can walk in and be treated with respect." Carter Williams, who had watched the drama unfold, stepped forward. "I come here because I love these watches," he said, "but I'd rather spend my money where everyone is valued. That's the kind of legacy that lasts." Samuel nodded, pride shining in his eyes. "That's the future of Sterling, Sons." Elijah outlined his vision: mandatory training on inclusion, open forums for staff, and a commitment to transparency in sourcing and service. The staff listened, their resistance melting into hope. Darius, humbled, promised to lead by example. Jasmine wiped away a tear, her resolve renewed. As the meeting ended, Elijah walked the boutique floor, watching as Darius greeted the young man in the hoodie with a genuine smile. Jasmine helped the Latina woman find the perfect watch. And Carter Williams lingered, chatting with customers as equals. The sun set over Seattle, casting golden light through the boutique's windows. Sterling, Sons was no longer just a temple of luxury. It was a place of possibility, its heart beating with a new rhythm. Elijah paused at the door, his backpack slung over his shoulder, and smiled. The road ahead would be long, but in the small acts of respect unfolding before him, he saw the dawn of a legacy worth building, one of dignity, respect, and timepieces that marked not just the hours, but the progress of the human spirit. What a journey, right? Elijah's quiet strength and vision remind us that true power lies not in wealth or status, but in the courage to challenge the old order and build something better. Would you have guessed his true identity? Did this story make you reflect on how you treat others? Share your thoughts below, and if this tale moved you, pass it on to someone who needs a little inspiration. Until next time, keep striving and keep time with kindness.